Hey, how's it going, guys? Coming to you today with another track guide. This is actually going to be an updated track guide from the one I released yesterday. Managed to improve on that 54.9, and we ended up with a 54.7. So we shaved another couple of tenths, 2 tenths exactly, just about almost 2 tenths exactly. So just going to try to speed this up, make it a little quicker than the last one, because the last video was like 15 minutes. So we're on our build-up lap here, coming into 8 and 9. And I'm going to let the whole thing play out, and then I'm going to break it down. At the end of this, I'll play it in cockpit view. So the worst thing, what's really annoying about this lap, is at one point in the lap, I was up. I would have had an additional 0.4, like 4 tenths. So if I wouldn't have messed it up on the final two, it's always 8 and 9 for me where I struggle. But if I hadn't have messed up on 8 and 9, I'm pretty convinced I would have had around a 54.3. So there's definitely room for improvement. I think 8 and 9 are probably holding me back from having just an elite level lap time, which 54.7 is really, really good. It's like top 20 in Garage 61, but a 54.3 would have been insane. So without further ado, going into cockpit view. So we're coming out of the uphill chicane into 8. So as far as markers, really, there's not much. I try to keep an eye on these little tire marks here. They're always there. They're always going to be there. So I always try to at least be on my brakes there or before. And you're going to brake up to about 50%. And then you're going to trail off of it really quickly. Okay, and then try to get in as close as you can to this inside apex without inside apex. Get as close in as you can to the apex without hitting it. If you hit it, it's gonna really upset the car, and you're gonna lose time. But once we get into the start of the curb here, we're gonna be up to starting on. We're gonna ease up to about 50% throttle, and we're gonna try to throttle through the curb and through the apex. As for 9, for brake markers, I usually try to be off the gas, off the throttle, and onto the brake before I get to this point. And you're going to only do about 30%, 35% on 9. And once again, you're going to quickly trail off of it. For some reason, it seems like the longer I would hold them, the tighter the car would be. So once again, when we get to the curb, back into the throttle, about 50%. Be patient with your throttle. Throttle control is going to be key this week. If you're too aggressive on the throttle, you're going to spend your whole practice session and race spinning out. So back up to 100, come on. As for brake markers, I try to be on the brake before the 6, and I believe should be what, up to like 75-80%. You could probably push it further and drive it deeper in and get you know, go closer to 85-90 on the brakes, but this is just what worked for me. That's again, while I'm saying that, I think I could have improved this lap time quite a bit, and it's only my second day on the track, so it's possible it'll get better than a 54.7. So once again, coming off trail braking as we're turning in, and I usually try to start turning in around the 1 sign. Just slow, gradual wheel, and bring it in and try to get your try to meet the curb here as late as possible. Realistically, I could have turned this in later than I did. And I also, another thing is when you get on the brakes, you want to try to shift down as quickly as possible, so you can hear. And then I'll use second just before the curb to get that last little bit of engine braking and get the car ready to rotate. Just a little bit of final little bit of brake there before you come into the inside of 1. Okay, so we're now off the throttle, just off the brake and throttle, a little more brake there, and just let it roll. And then I'll just slowly start to test the grip with the gas. Give it just a little bit of momentum going through 2. And same here, keep it tucked in on the curb. You want to be, as we did in 8 and 9, you want to have 50%, at least 50% throttle going through the apex. And it's going to want to kick out on you here. You can see I got a little bit loose there, so you gotta make sure you counter steer. No need to go too aggressive with the throttle here. You can see I'm only at about 73%. As for markers, there's not much here. Kind of this, you know, these tire marks here, maybe like the middle right there, the middle of it. And basically you want to be out of the gas before you get into these tire marks. And you only need about 30% brake, and you're going to trail off quickly. Start your turn in. Try to turn in as late as possible for this one. You're going to do a late apex on the other side. So rather than this corner back here, you want to try to apex as late as you can. Really a little early there on the throttle, but I'm just trying to test how much grip I've got. Okay, and then you may be tempted on this straight to just hammer the throttle, and that's really not going to be the play. You just want to, just like we did coming out of 2 here, just that little 75% throttle. I don't even think I do that much. Yeah, so like more like 70. Then we're going to let off as we're coming through the apex of 4. We're still in second gear, and then same as before, about 50% throttle, trying to carry some speed through the apex, get in close to the curb. And here on this little section, you're going to have a dip on the right, and it's going to be really easy to spin the car out, so you have to have some throttle control here coming through this section. So you can see once I get the car straightened out, I try to get it up close to 100, close to full throttle, cutting through that little dip. And that little dip is right there, right where that curb's at. There's kind of a dip, you can see. Even if you don't clip the curb, which that one there doesn't really upset the car, but you can see how there's a dip there, and it's in the track as well. Shift to third and around that curb, and then into the uphill chicane. So you see how this got the straight line here, and then you've got another straight line here. I try to brake before or at, maybe even a little after this bend right here. I can't remember how I did it this time. I think right at it, yeah. So up to about 78, about 80% brake. Initially, you want to shift down to second quickly. You can see as soon as I'm on the brakes, I'm shifting down. Okay, get it over to the left as far as you can. You've got plenty of room here. You know, the barrier's here, so no worries about getting an off track unless you hit that. Trail off the brake as you cut in. Probably should have cut in a little later there. Do not hit these little curbs because they will upset the car and they will mess up your lap. So get as close as you can without actually hitting them. Once I get into this uphill section, I'm already getting on the throttle up to 75%. Still in second. Get as close as you can to all of these. If you don't get close to this one here, you're going to end up on the left side and you're going to hit this top section of this curb, which is going to upset the car. Don't go full throttle here yet. It's tempting to, but if you do, you're gonna scrub. You're gonna spin the tires and lose time. So get as close to this as you can, but don't run over it. And then once I come over this crest, I slowly ease into 100% throttle. Shift there at about that curb. Get all the way over to the left. And as far as brake markers go, really these trees right here, I try to brake before. There's not much on this track, man. There's really just not much as far as brake markers go. But I try to brake before those trees. And this first corner, same as the build-up lap, you're going up to about 40% on the brake. Cut into the apex as late as possible. Be gradual with your wheel. Trail off, and then, as I've mentioned this whole lap, try to carry 50% throttle through the apex. These are my worst two sections, though. I know there's more time to be had here, so you may get into a practice session and find a way to do these last two turns better than me, or the whole thing overall. Really just take this lap, what I'm showing you, and just build upon it. So we're taking 8 and 9 in third. Okay, we're going 100% throttle right as we pass this little access road. And then same here, at or before this little patch. And once again, we're going to be about 30%. Trail out of it quickly. I still think I'm cutting into the apex a little early, but it's still fast, so it's still worked out. Carrying about 50% through the apex. Get the wheel unloaded. And just, you're going to have to be prepared to counter steer. Don't counter steer preemptively. Like, don't do it as a preventative measure. You need to do it as a reaction, because if you do it as a preventative measure, you're going to slow yourself down. You're going to lose a lot of speed. So you just got to be quick. And you know, if it does start to kick out, it's little quick movements and back. You don't want to turn it hard over to do that correction. You just want little stabs at a time, and then back to where your wheels are going. So if you were taking a right hand turn and it started to kick out on you, you would turn to the left a little bit and then turn right back towards where you're wanting the car to go, because if not, you're going to end up off track. So the game here with 9 is just getting 100% throttle as early as you can. It's going to feel like you've got the left rear out, but you just got to find a good balance for getting to 100% throttle. So we're going to start the lap over here. Try to get to the 9th. This is the full lap.